Perfect. We're on air. Oh shit. I think my fat ass just broke the seat. Okay, so before this podcast starts, I am a good guest, so I have brought some gifts.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. From my personal collection, starting off, we got some classic erotic tales. I brought 4 books for 4 of you, so we got some classic erotic tales.
Give that to Owen.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
we got The Science of Self-Realization by
Let me
His
get that one.
Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
Let me get that.
Oh, I'm fired.
And we have 2 of my favorite translations by Eknath Aswaran of the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. These books, very dense with wisdom. I'm sorry, the Bhagavad Gita is kind of fucked up.
In the Bhagavad Gita.
Have you read these all yourself?
Yes,
Which one
What
do
is
you recommend?
what is classic erotic tales?
exactly what it sounds
Yeah.
like, my friend.
Digging in that one.
Yeah, it's like horny reading. The best
Yeah,
part
I
about
don't-
like
I-
the best part about like
Enjoy.
the best
That's
part
all
about
you do.
reading
Yeah.
horny books is like you get to like pleasure yourself with one hand and then read the book with the other. And if you're really sophisticated, you can be like, and then turn the page.
Is that what you do?
No, I don't do that. No, I'm not all about that. But some people are.
Really?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Do you know people that do that?
Oh, most people
Really?
jerk off. Yeah.
No, like that.
All of you probably
do. You know people that like?
And then turn the page.
Yeah.
Can't say I do.
Jacob, are you into this?
Maybe. I don't know. That's very sophisticated, though.
You better check.
Well, anyways, this is available for anyone who needs it.
You are?
Who wants this?
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Fuck yeah.
Thank you. Sir.
I would highly recommend the Bhagavad Gita. It's really good.
What's it? What this?
Oh, you
what's
should
this
give that
about?
to your father, Owen. You know,
So-
since he's a Buddhist teacher, whatever.
Oh, he is. This is these are more related to Hindu Hindu texts.
I'm
Oh,
interested
Hindu?
in the
My
Hindu
bad.
because I've already read about
The
Buddhist
Bhagavad
texts.
Gita
Is that okay if I-
and the
Yeah.
Upanishads are both what you would consider Hindu. Even though Hindu is just a term which means Indian, so you could just say Indian and Hindu interchangeably. Hindu isn't actually a religion.
You gonna
It's,
read into that?
Actually.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
That's the fun after.
Hindu was like
Oh yeah.
I
That's
forget who made the term, but the interesting
That's a language, right?
Hindu?
Yeah.
That's a real.
Yeah.
Sanskrit is a language.
Sign language is a language.
It is.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about the Bhagavad Gita, it is an Upanishad. The Upanishads,
Is Hindi a language?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think
Indianese.
Hindi.
There's Punjabi too.
Yeah, there's like so many.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not well educated. I just read the books and I like
Yeah.
extract the wisdom where I can. But
Yeah.
all of these are very good reads.
Awesome.
Ooh, I like this
I
cover.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad you do.
Thank you, Max. I
Yeah, it's
appreciate
baller
it.
as fuck. Yeah, no, I'm happy that y'all. Sorry, my hands are still
Let's
covered in
ask
sap.
ask our viewers to rate the person on the cover. What do you guys rate this woman on a scale from 1 to 10?
I'm sure they have a lot to say about that.
I mean, as long as she's sleeping, you never. Well, her eyes are open, so she must be alive. So that's a win in my book. As long as she's alive and as long as she's a she.
And consent.
Yes, that too.
Yo.
You want good tea. Good tea.
Anyways,
Thank
yeah,
you
the
for the
first.
gifts.
Yeah. thank
Yes,
you so
that
much.
makes me very happy. I'm glad y'all enjoyed the gifts. The first thing I wanted to bring up was the name, Dupreme. What about that? Where did that come from? Where did that name come
It
from?
originated, I was wearing a shirt that said Jupreme from my synagogue, and then one of us was like, yo, we should name the channel Jupreme. And then we're all like, hey, bet.
I
And-
see.
However,
And it just stuck.
should we announce
Shut
it?
the fuck up, Owen.
No.
We're not switching
No,
the name.
so
We're
is
thinking
so-
about switching the name. We're
No,
not
we're
sure. yet.
actually
We haven't come up with.
with the name.
As,
we're keeping the name.
as you can tell among my compatriots,
You're not the boss.
there are some
This
disagreements.
is the majority
This is
of
a-
people.
We
who
will
know
not be
Jacob.
switching
Toby,
the name.
This
Jacob,
is
and
a-
I.
This
Or
this
for the
is a
name.
this is a
Right.
this is
Well,
a group this is a group discussion
Hey,
which should happen off
The guys
air.
who edit
But
the
if I'm
videos-
correct,
Guys,
Jacob, you are Jewish. If I'm correct,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah, Noah is.
Amazing.
Who's another member.
And this guy as well.
Yes, I can tell. I'm kidding.
No, you can't.
No, fuck, this finger hurts. Yeah, no. So it's actually it's not to mock the
Jewish people?
the Jewish people or their religion.
Not at all.
Because
We're one.
We're like we're promoting Judaism pretty much that way. We're not doing.
I don't
anything,
think you're
like,
supposed to
negative
do that in
whatsoever.
Judaism, though, right? Like
Yeah,
you're not allowed to join.
You're not supposed to promote it.
Yeah, you're not supposed to promote it, and you're not supposed to join.
Awareness.
Awareness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like-
Jewish people exist, guys.
Yeah, stop Jewish hate.
We don't all have big noses.
So, we're doing that right now.
Stop Jewish hate.
Yeah.
Yes. Shit. So, if I am correct, there were some
And
topics of discussion.
Just to clarify, you're allowed to convert to it. Like you're, yeah,
You
that's
are?
just a clarification.
You can?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Would they want that, or is that?
Yeah, if you
Really?
believe in it and you like support the religion and you feel like more close to it, then yeah, you're welcome to convert. Like,
amazing?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. All right.
We
That-
could switch the
that-
topic.
That,
from
that,
religion.
all right. No, that clears up some misconception. And other than that, let's cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks. Let's switch the topic of discussion. As far as I know, I don't know if there was anything y'all wanted to bring up. I know y'all wanted me to tell some trip reports.
I was
About
really
us.
interested in that.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah, because
DMT,
you.
right?
Yeah, I've done DMT, and my first experience with psychedelics was actually salvia.
Oh,
Really?
You have
I
to
have a lot of questions about that because I've always been interested.
Salvia?
Like, I don't know if you can board this, all right? Because it's part of I've done like shrooms and acid and stuff, and I've never really done like the big psychedelics like salvia and like DMT. I don't know if I ever will because I just don't think there's like enough control with it. I feel like
That's
you
true.
like with mushrooms and acid, like if you have a good mindset going in, that's a lot easier to control it. But with
That's
those,
true.
it's like you like. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to follow some
Well,
information.
your
Like,
mindset always has to do with how you
Trip,
experience it going into it. It's just down to your individual, personal, experiential, like everything leading up to that moment, and especially what your thoughts are right before you like enter the trip is going to greatly influence the trip. And especially if you try to fight the trip, you're going to have a bad trip. You have to be aware that you're taking something which is going to really alter your perception. So
I have a question about that because once you're in it, like, can you really like tell you're on something? Because from my like perspective, I've seen like people that don't even know like that they're in like another world or like that they just don't even understand time during it. Like, is there any like, do you feel sober at all during it where you can like recollect your life and stuff?
it depends. I'll tell my experience with salvia first because that was my first ever experience. I was, I think, 14. I was like 13 or 14.
That's insane.
Yeah, so I was at a friend's house, and he had this friend over, someone who I knew from this alternative school that I went to when I was in 7th grade. That's another story. I accidentally made a joke out of bad taste that was received the wrong way. They thought I was serious, so they locked down the school, and I was arrested. And so I
Damn.
was sent to an alternative school.
Friend church.
That might
Yes.
have been one bad joke.
It was one bad joke. It was, yeah, my friends were just singing. And I made a joke. I was like, man, y'all singing so bad, it makes me want to blow up the school.
There's no way that they kicked you out of school for saying that.
They didn't kick me out of the school. Well, they did for a semester. This happened right at the
You're
cusp.
14 years old. How can you like blow up the school? Like,
If there's a will, there's a way, man. There's been some young terrorists. You know the guy who just recently stabbed Marmari Emanuel, the Orthodox priest? That motherfucker was like 15. And yeah, dude. Not to say he's a terrorist. Pray for everyone.
Exactly.
Don't promote violence. Marmari Emanuel immediately forgave his attacker. But anyways, yeah. So I was sent to an alternative school. I was sent to an alternative school, and
was it lit?
no,
Alternative
it wasn't.
Church is for bums, bro.
I know. Apparently-
It wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't Frank Church. It was Base, which is connected to
Oh
Frank
yeah,
Church.
Luke had to go there.
I went to Frank Church for one class, which was an art class, which was taught by Mr. Gladfelter, who drew Marvel comics. And that motherfucker could draw, and he was very, very talented.
Awesome.
Massive respect for Mr. Gladfelter. He was an amazing art teacher. But yeah, while at that school, I met this one kid. I won't say his name, but I just kind of saw him and knew him from around. And anyways, I I was home from school one day, and I went over to my friend's house just to like smoke a little bit of weed. I don't smoke weed anymore. I don't smoke anything anymore. But I was with him just to smoke a little bit of weed, and we were doing that. And his friend comes over, and he's like, I have a little bit of salvia left. I sold most all of it. I have like a little bit left. And I'll give you a shot for free if you want it. I forget what the extract was, because it goes from like just normal salvia to like 5 times extract, 10 times extract, all the way up to like 100, 200 times extract. If I'm correct, I think I smoked 10 times extract. And I remember he pulled out this substance and it was black. It was like this black plant. And the interesting thing about salvia, it's actually related to sage divinorum. So it's like sage, you know, just the sage you can burn. But it's in the same like family. I don't know. I guess I'm not a botanist, but it's in the same family. And so, anyways, he pulls out this substance and it's black. It's salvia, and he loads it up into like, you know, those sockets that you attach to wrenches, the socket wrenches.
Yeah.
That you like interchange out, like depending on the size of the socket. He pulls out like a really small socket wrench fixation, so it's like almost like a bowl because it's really skinny at the end and like wider at the top, and he packs that full of salvia, and he loads that in something like a bottle, like a glass bottle, and he tells me like, okay, so when you smoke this, you gotta smoke as much of it as you can and hold it in your lungs for like 30 seconds.
30
Damn.
seconds?
What?
30 seconds.
Wait, I have a question real quick. Did
Yeah.
you know going into salvia like what like it would be like? That was like this really strong psychedelic. Like how much did you know?
Nope.
That's
I did not
insane.
know
Are you
that.
serious?
Nope. I thought
That's so messed up on his part.
I thought it was gonna be like weed.
Oh my god! You must have been the biggest surprise ever.
It was like injecting liquid anxiety and fear
Yeah, your
into
thoughts
my
like
brain.
before on the come up must have been insane.
I remember, oh yeah, it was, yeah, dude. I remember I inhale it, and it just burns. It's so much worse than weed or anything I've ever smoked to this day. It just burns on the way in, and I'm like, fuck. And I'm like holding it in, and he's like, no. And he has a 30-second timer. He's like, hold it in, and I'm just like, like dying. And eventually he's like, all right, 30 seconds is up, and I just go, and I let it all out, and I'm just glad to exhale. But as soon as I exhale,
Oh my
even
god.
as it was like working its way in my lungs, like shit started getting weird. Like everything looked slippery, and I remember like the way everyone was looking at me, like they were just watching me like the way you are now, like with no expression, just kind of like curious. But my mind interpreted it as like hostile.
Yeah, did you
and
feel like
aggressive.
kind of paranoid for that?
So
feeling?
paranoid and scared I've ever been. Like it just my central nervous system was fucking instantly went from like relaxed and chill with my friends to like everybody's trying to fucking get me, dude.
Yeah, I've
And,
heard that a lot about like psychedelics, like really strong ones, where you just feel everyone's out to get you, and that like that's like the first thing that happens.
Yeah, if you go into it with a bad mindset, that could happen, but I think this is something distinct to salvia. First thing I'm going to say about salvia, well, I should have said this before, don't do salvia. Don't do
Facts.
salvia. Don't try this. It's god-awful, especially at our age. It's
Yeah,
terrible.
14 is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, at that age or at any age, just don't do it. It's terrifying, and they were filming me. I remember.
What? That's fucked up.
I asked them to. I asked them to because I was like, I want to see what I look like, because I remember I saw part of the video and I never got the video. I really wish to this day I had that video, but I never got the video because actually the kid who gave me the salvia, who gave me the hit of salvia, like I said, I'm not going to say his name. Sometime after that, he was a drug dealer. That's why he had all these drugs. He had like acid, shrooms, salvia, everything on him. After he gave me this hit of salvia, he ended up selling a kid a bad batch of acid, and it killed him, and he was sentenced to 10 years. I'm not kidding when I say this. And from what I know, recently he was released. He was paroled, and he's free now. But after that, he sold a kid a bad batch of acid, and this kid passed away as a result of this bad acid. And yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's tragic.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, I remember this kid. He was really nice though. He was like really friendly, like a little bit more lively than most drug dealers I've known. Most drug dealers are kind of just like chill and
Yeah, from my experience, there's always geeked or something.
Yeah,
they
they're-
hop in the whip. There's just like a cloud or something.
Yeah, they're just not there. But he was like really engaging and present. He was like, "Dude, I got some salvia. We could try it out." And yeah, I didn't know what to expect because no amount of like, I could talk about this for hours and you guys would still not even know one billionth of what it's like. You could read. It's like once you experience it, you're glad you did because you have the knowledge. It's like going to war. It's like you don't want to know what a veteran knows from going to war, but like that's some expensive knowledge. Like you can't fucking take that from someone. That you have that forever. But anyways, I take the hit of salvia. I exhale. The world around me starts getting slippery, and like everything seems terrifying. And I was in my friend's room, and I was laying on his bed, and he had a window behind him, and I fell back, and my neck hit the windowsill. And I was laying back like that, and I remember from the... And I was saying, I'm being pushed as I'm pushing myself with my legs. And it just felt I was falling. It felt like I was falling, and then eventually I was like sucked back out, and it was like I was in a corridor. I was like trying to run through a corridor. And the entire time I'm laying down, this is all in my head. But I remember I was full of fear because I was like, everybody's out to get me. If anybody finds out I did this, they're going to chastise me. I'm going to be a criminal. So I was just scared that people would find out, and I just wanted to run away and like be home and like go to sleep and just not experience this.
Wait, I have a question. What was your perception of time during this? Because I know that those, like, you could live lives and shit. Like, 100% believe it.
It lasted like 10 minutes, but it felt like an eternity.
I know, like, that's what scares me about that.
Felt
It can feel
like
so long.
It felt like I was there for like days.
That's
And
crazy.
from what I know, this was like a week salvia trip. This was like a week extract. 10x is like a lower extract. You could go all the way up to like 200x. There's much worse trip reports than the one I'm giving now. I'm chill now, but like just think about the fact that you will never ever hear about the worst trip reports because they sent the user into insanity and they just were never able to recover.
That's scary.
I'm okay now, dude. As soon as I came out of it, I was fine. Yeah, but yeah, dude, I'm very lucky, but. Yeah, I remember it was like running through a corridor. My life felt like the Truman Show. Like everything was a prop. Like I was on a stage in a play. Everybody was like trying, like I was the protagonist and everybody else was an antagonist.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the script.
Like, what if that's true though?
Dude, don't ask me that.
You can't really listen.
Fuck. Don't ask me that. Oh god, that's gonna freak me out. That's not true.
Obviously not, bro.
Love everyone. Love everyone, and everybody has love in them. But yeah, man, that was a freaky experience. Yeah, it was like running through a corridor, and I was being chased by people. There were people like trying to guide me and like not trying to help me, but they were like trying to help me play my part in this big theatrical like. I don't know how to describe it. It felt so real but unreal, like whimsical.
Hold
like
on.
I was in a.
He just ate a bunch of dirt
Like I was.
while we were interviewing Max, so he's kind of tripping right now. So
I've heard of people accidentally giving their dogs like mushrooms and stuff.
Bruh, imagine.
That's cool.
Let's
Give Fritz.
Give Fritz a bunch of mushrooms.
What
Oh my
made you
God.
want to do DMT after you tried salvia? Because it didn't seem like you really like.
So I did
enjoyed it that
DMT
much.
recently. Well, first off, after salvia, I never touched psychedelics again for a while. And excuse me. Yeah, I was still smoking weed. Up until like a few months ago, I was still like kind of on and off with weed, but I just decided to stop. Yeah, I just don't mess with that anymore because I'm not about that. I'm just trying to dedicate my life to like the infinite creator, trying to develop a conscious contact with him as I understand him, and trying to be as loving as I can with other people. And it's kind of hard to be loving if you like can't even like talk to them because you're just so fucking baked. So I like to live in the present moment, and marijuana kind of like disrupts it makes like the communication between my brain cells like a second slower, if that makes sense. So shit's just like slow, and it's much easier to just like watch YouTube on your phone for hours. Whereas opposed to today, I wake up, I'm refreshed, I can fucking climb a tree and go on this podcast.
yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I never touched psychedelics again for a while after that. I've done mushrooms many times. I've never done acid. I've done mushrooms many times. Every time I've done mushrooms, it's been positive, except for one time where it was kind of strange, but it was still very like,
Cool.
it illustrated to me. It was very. It was a learning experience for sure. They always are. But my last experience with mushrooms, I've had 2, and that was after I did DMT, and those were both, I could say, somewhat recent, not very, but like a few months ago. And I should give my DMT trip report.
Yes, that was
Yeah, because didn't you say
yeah.
like it hurt
We'll get
like
to
when
that.
people yell?
What?
Like you were like hurt when like people yelled at
Like,
you.
physically hurt? Or-
No, not. This is always after. This has just been lasting effects. Like while I was in, when I did DMT, I was just in my room and laying on my bed, and my friend makes ambient music, and he has this amazing ambient album called Music for Atriums. Look it up, Music for Atriums. Atrium spelled ATRIUMS. By Owen Carswell. It's an amazing ambient album.
Oh, I know Owen.
I would highly recommend it. Yeah, Owen Carswell. And so I put my earbuds in and I listened to this ambient album, and it's very healing. You could read the synopsis in the description of the album about how this album was very like meticulously created. Every frequency and drone you hear is a specific frequency, like 128 hertz or something. Certain frequencies which facilitate healing and relaxation, but it's also just very beautiful to listen to. So anyways, I pop my earbuds in and I put that in and I just get in the zone. I'm in a very meditative space, and I have this glass pipe, and I load up the pipe with weed and I put the DMT on top. The way, obviously I'm smoking the DMT, so it's a crystalline powder. It's like eggshell color, and it smelled like minty, sort of rubbery, but mostly mint. It was kind of a good smell. But anyways, the amount I had bought was enough to put like 20 people on the moon. Maybe enough to put like 10 people on the moon if you smoked it wrong. Prior to this, I had tried to
elaborate on like how like what do you mean by put 20 people on the moon?
Like breakthrough. Anyways, when you smoke DMT, you can smoke it, and if you don't do it correctly, and if you don't burn it at the right temperature, or it just by chance you get a shitty hit, you can experience visuals for like 30 seconds, but you won't break through. It'll just be like a very intense mushroom trip, where your mental faculties are still in place, like you're sober, but you just like see stuff for a second and then it's gone. But you're still in this world. But when you break through out of this world.
Yeah.
And you leave your body, which is what happened to me. Anyways, I was with this person. I had bought the DMT from one of my friends, who I'm still very good friends with. He's amazing. And I had taken the DMT home, and I was with somebody else, and we decided we wanted to trip at each other. So they went first, and they tried, and they didn't break through. I always say you got to respect the substance because it can do things. You're trying to break through. It's you have to go through it with a serious spiritual and emotional intent. If you have to like respect the substance and treat it right, and it'll treat you right. And if you really want to break through, you have to be willing to accept that. And this person I was with, they weren't able to break through, and anyways, yeah, that was the case. And anyways, I had tried, I wasn't able to break through with them, so I was like, fuck it. So I just packed it, and then I went to my room and I was like, hey yo, I'm gonna just go do this alone. And so I just relaxed, put on my fan, took off my shirt, laid in bed for a while, and I'm sitting back, like looking at my room, looking at all my posters and out the window, like the sun's going down. This is like probably like 8:55 p.m. on a Tuesday, on a school night.
Hey, that's fine.
Yeah, I went to school the next day, and so I'm sitting and I'm just preparing to smoke this DMT, and I have the ambient music, and I take a hit, and I clear the first hit. I hold it in for a second, I exhale, and I realize it's coming on very quickly.
I
And
heard
so
you have to take 3 hits to break through it. Is that true?
I took 2 hits. So I take my first exhale, and I already know I'm going to break through because I hit it correctly. And I'm like, you have to go in deeper. You just have to go in deeper. It's starting. You have to push into it. Don't try and get out of it because that'll fuck it up. You just have to attack it head on, and that's what I did. And so I take the second hit, and I feel the bolt snap through, and it's all clear. And I hold it in my lungs. I set the pipe and lighter down. I put my hands like this, and I just go, and the gate opens, and I leave my body, and immediately, it is more fantastical and colorful than I could ever put into words. It was not as geometric. Everything was symmetrical. Some people describe seeing a lot of geometry, and I did, but everything for me was very fluid and curvy and like magnetic. And I did meet some entities on the other side. But anyways, I'm like slingshotted through this tunnel, and the world
Do you want to
breaks
explain
through.
about meeting other entities?
I will. I'll get to that after, because they were guiding me. They were very loving, not like the ones I met while I was on Salvia. As far as I know, the ones that I met when I was on Salvia were just my friends trying to guide me back to my bed after I had tried to stand up and walk away. But on DMT, the gate opened, and I was just traversing this different kind of world. Everything is fluid and non-linear. That everything was one, and I felt everything within me and myself within everything. And I truly believe that that is the natural state of being for what we are. We are in this world, but we're not of this world. You're not this body. What you are has chosen to inhabit this body for a short period of time. It can leave at any time if it wants to, but for the sake of its own learning experience. I truly believe life is its own like trip, if you will. There are times where I'm just completely sober, like now, where I listen to everything at once, and I see all these beautiful colors in the backyard, and I feel my butt on the chair and everything. I can smell everything. Everything is happening at once. It's like the most intense psychedelic trip ever, is what life is. Just sober existence is just the most intense psychedelic trip you can imagine.
That's all.
And just the same way you try to break through with DMT to have this learning experience while you're in this world, you realize that that is actually your natural state of being, is this oneness and presence with everything, and you choose to forget that and come to this world and experience this trip to learn whatever needs to be learned in this lifetime about how to treat other entities with respect, how to love others, and how to master certain aspects of the human condition, like trustworthiness, like resilience, healing, learning how to love other people, learning how to control your anger, how to restrain your speech, how to take care of your body. Those are learning experiences which your soul chooses to have. And I was removed from this body, and I was put back into my natural state of being. And it was very, I'm not going to say scary. It was just like jarring and very surreal. And I mean, like I said, your soul and your mind, there's capital M mind and lowercase m mind. The lowercase m mind is the mind which reminds you that you need to go to the gym and take your vitamins and like walk your dog, and is worried about what other people say about you. But the capital M mind is the true essence of being. What plans this experience, because you chose this experience. We planned out everything that we are experiencing now before for our own healing, and only now are we experiencing it. The same way you like go to watch a movie with your friends, like, yo, you want to go see this movie? Even if you know what the movie is going to be, you get to see it and experience it with your friends. That's what life is. You're with your friends, even if in this life they're your enemies. They're here to facilitate your healing, and in the play/trip of life, they're here to facilitate your learning, and you do the same for them. And everything is equal. There's no such thing as getting away with something. If you do something to someone else, it's either because you have experienced exactly what they have felt in that moment, or when you do something to someone, you have like incurred. I'm talking about karma. Karma is just a natural law of cause and effect. It's it's nothing bad. It's not good or bad. It's just if you throw something up, it's going to come down. Everything equalizes. If you do something to someone else, eventually you're going to feel exactly what they felt in that moment. Anyways, on DMT, the veil was lifted, and for a moment I was just put in my natural state of being, and I got to talk to some other entities. They were vaguely humanoid. They were like formless, and I don't want to say dark and void, but it's like everything in this world was very, very colorful and fluid, and this fluid energy would bend around them to form their shape, and they were like magnets. They were drawing this energy in the same way like black absorbs light in a very like light-filled environment. That's what they were. They were just absorbing the energy, and they were trying to guide me. I remember everything was symmetrical, and there were two, and they were trying to guide me like this. They had like my hands, and they were like pulling me this way. Everything is moving forward, and everything is ever changing, ever evolving, and everything exists there. Just like everything exists here. Even if something doesn't exist, it exists in potentiality. It can happen, and in that way it exists. And everything is happening spontaneously of its own accord. There is no good or bad, and there is no like cause and effect, this then this. It's only the universe, this one thing, deciding, I want to happen here in this way. I want to happen here in this way. And that's what's happening now when it manifests itself as this speakingness, or my hand movements, or the dog choosing to eat dirt and lay in the shade. There is no cause and effect. There is only one being happening, pulsing with this singular energy all the time.
So, do you believe we're all our own person, or like...
We exist as... animal crackers. Animal crackers are all formed in different shapes, but they're made of the same dough. They're made of the same exact recipe, the same exact experience, and they all taste the same, but they exist in different shapes.
That's an amazing way of putting it.
Yes.
Do you believe in like parallel universes? Are you familiar like
I do. Yeah, I'm familiar with
how
the
you're
concept.
like how in a state you're in essentially two different places at once. And whatever you're choosing in the moment is you're choosing to experience one way, but at the same time there's another outcome going on at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's true. That's what I'm talking about. In terms of a cosmic scale, like as if it's physically happening the way it is now in a separate universe that we'll never experience. I can't know. I'm not a cosmologist, and I can't like say how statistically possible that is. I don't know. But
And it's been like tested through experiments, because they shot like an atom through like the experiment was they shot an atom and it landed at two different places, or maybe not a particle, and it landed at two different places on one thing, and it proved that it could be in two different places at once.
I think that's true, and I don't know. That's a realm of endeavor outside my expertise. I am no fucking expert on the hadron colliders or material science.
Is that like from like the Spider-Man
physics.
movie?
Spider-Verse?
I've never seen the
I
Spider.
have a question.
There's a lot of movies.
So, like, all this knowledge you're saying, do you think that, like, do you know that stuff is true, or is that kind of knowledge that you, like, have hypothesized from your trips and all these
I know
movies?
for a fact that it's true because you experience it. It's not something you can read and just know or believe. It's just you have to experience it, and it's.
And was that in your trip?
How do you
That's
know
the
it's
most-
not like the DMT just like fucking with you?
Yeah, it's just like
Because it's all these
Right.
entities and stuff, which I
Yeah,
get.
You
but
ju- you just have to
that's what the drug
experience it.
does to you.
That's the thing is you can't look at it through.
That way.
I value reason a lot, and where I am now personally, I believe I'm within the realm of reason. I'm up here. I'm trying to look at something which is completely non-linear, and defies any notion of cause and effect through that lens of this is linear and cause and effect, and with cause and effect. you will know once you experience it. And I know for a fact that is just the natural state of being, and that God exists. I don't believe God exists. I know God exists, because we are all it. God, you meet God every day when she hands you back your change at Goodies, when you go to Goodies, or when you swat God on the wall as he's crawling up towards his web in your bathroom.
So you think this all has connection to religion somehow?
Not exactly religion. It's very spiritual. I see a lot of value in religion.
So I believe in like spirituality and stuff. I don't know. Like I personally don't believe in God, because I just don't really understand how that can like exist and stuff. Like I believe in spirituality and all that stuff.
Well, what is
I feel
the
like this
spirit?
is like connecting somehow to like religion.
I feel like religion and
Not
spirituality are like kind of like the same thing.
They are, but they aren't. Religion, in terms of organized religions, as in Christianity, Islam, Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism is the first religion. So
like a religion.
you understand that Jesus, yes, this guy gets it. Jesus Christ is the avatar of the Christian religion. Zoroaster is the avatar of Zoroastrianism. They're very similar. I'm not sure if Zoroastrianism is under the same blanket of the Abrahamic religions, just because I am not educated
It's not.
on that. Thank you. I'm not educated within that. You can experience these things and know spiritual truth. You just have to experience it. Reading it will only take you so far. And I've only read so much. Things generally happen in a sequence of, you will hear about it, you might choose to read up on it a little bit, and you might try to understand it, and you might know it as knowledge, but you don't know it as experience. But once you know it as knowledge, it'll happen to you, and you will experience it, and then once that happens, nobody can take that from you because you've experienced it. See, the difference is, well, there is no such thing as difference, but your perception is your reality. Like someone who's racist and, oh man, I shouldn't have gone there.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
that example.
I got to charge through now because
we can cut that.
no, but someone who is racist, and if they believe that they are superior and that others
in
are
their
inferior,
world, they are superior.
that is their
Social
reality.
Darwinism?
That is their reality.
Okay.
That's their perception, therefore that is their reality. What you perceive and what you believe is your reality.
What about saying something's bigger than something? Like, obviously, like, there's one thing that's bigger than the other. Like, regardless of what they believe, something is bigger than the other thing. Like, you can't really change that from your perception, even in your world. Like, it's still going to be bigger than other person's. Like, I get what you mean about, like, this idea of someone being better than someone else. In terms of, like, that, like, I just don't understand.
It's like a really deep.
I suppose that's true, but it doesn't really matter. And you can always, like, there is a possibility I could perceive. Well, I mean, optical illusions. You can perceive something that is smaller or the same size. I forget what it is. I think it's the Mueller-Lyer effect, it's called. If you take two lines which are the exact same length, but you put arrows on the end that are facing this direction. If I had a pencil and paper, I could draw it, and you would see what I mean. But there can be two lines of the same length. But if you affix, like, arrow, like the end of an arrow, just the greater than or less than sign. If one of them has, like, greater than and less than signs that are facing inward, it will appear larger than if they're facing outward. Even though the lines themselves are the same length, the arrowheads are facing in different directions, so they look to be one is longer than the other. So even within that, like, one is bigger than the other, you can never really be sure, because it's all just perception. And there's so many different factors which go into your perception of the world that you will never understand. If I understood, like, all of my trauma, everything I've experienced, all of my genetics, all of my karmic inheritance, and like habits which contribute to how my mind perceives the world, I would be literally omniscient and have complete understanding of myself, which I don't. It's impossible to know who you are, but who you are doesn't matter. It's about what you are. And what you are is a divine essence, which is ever present in everything.
Do you believe in the Big Bang?
That's just science. That's less like...
Big boom. I haven't thought about the Big Bang in a while. Scientifically, it makes sense, but like I said, science can only take you so far.
I think it's more of a... It seems more of like a theory, because it's not like...
Yeah,
that's
why it's called
impossible.
well, there's four
no, not
doors.
really.
I mean, it's science, religion.
There is.
Scientology.
That book there,
Hubbard.
that book there tries to approach spirituality in a scientific way. I would highly recommend reading David R. Hawkins, who in my opinion is probably the best writer on spirituality like ever, just because he explains things in such a concise manner, and his writings are so recent, up until like I think his first or second book came out in like 2002, and he was writing them like when we were born, and his most recent was 2012, and he like died. But David R. Hawkins was a scientist. He worked on the Manhattan Project with Oppenheimer, I believe. He was a psychiatrist. I don't remember much about David R. Hawkins' personal life, but he had lots of personal experiential experiences with spirituality from a very young age, just having these profound realizations without drugs. He just had these realizations. I've had these realizations just from my personal meditation and contemplation in tandem with what I've read, like psychedelic experiences.
Do you meditate?
Every day. I haven't today.
For how long?
Do it. Generally, I'll do it like 15 to 30 minutes at a time. I've gone to a retreat before where you'll meditate for like 45 minutes at a time. Those ones are deep, but I think the most productive meditations are about 20 to 25 minutes.
And
because
do you do guided meditations or just regular, like just sitting and focusing on your breath?
I think guided meditations are good for learning how to meditate, but as you learn and you have your own way of experiencing it and doing it, it's like lifting. Like nobody squats the same way. It's good to have like a personal trainer to teach you how to squat.
Shout out Ferg.
Shout out fucking Ferg, dude. I'm so much stronger now.
I love you, Ferg.
Triple threat's 755 now when it was 580 at the beginning of the year.
That's insane.
Very impressive.
Yeah, dude. Squatted 315 yesterday.
Whoa.
Hey, dang.
I wish I could have been there.
Yeah, well, that's your squat, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're impressive, and you're still a junior. I started lifting, like, in the middle to end of my junior year. I couldn't even squat 225. Like, imagine where you'll be where you're at my age. You'll be a fucking dense monster, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, no. I don't know why I started talking about lifting. I tried to clean and jerk 200 yesterday, and I was so close, but I wasn't able to. My max clean and overhead jerk is 195.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but anyways, like once you figure out your like squat like checklist, it's like I personally, I'll step back on the bar, I'll stretch my shoulders, I'll come up, I'll plant right foot first, drive it into the ground, left foot, then I'll like rub the bar on my traps, get it situated. You have like a checklist that you go through, and the same applies to meditation. Like once you've sat, I have an altar in my room. I like to light incense because it smells nice. An important thing to do when you meditate is don't let it be uncomfortable. Like if your legs hurt in lotus position, you can sit like this. It's fine. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
Or lay down.
Some people lay down. Yeah, it's chill. I personally don't like to do that because I fall asleep mad easy. It's good. It's good to. I like to have my hands like this and to sit upright because it gives me something to focus on and feel on, and I have to somewhat remain conscious of how I'm sitting to remain upright, and that keeps me present. But once you have your checklist that you can go through, you can just meditate on your own, and it's more productive than a guided meditation because a guided meditation might kind of take you off of course. It might get you into your thinking mind like, oh, I need to do what this guided meditation says, where when I meditate now, I completely try to escape my thinking mind, which is hard because your mind is constantly working, but you have to trust the fact that the mind will silence itself of its own accord. And there are times where you can truly be in a state where you're thinking about nothing and you're only experiencing.
So, you don't focus. You don't even focus on your breath. Sometimes, like you focus on literally nothing.
I do. It's good to focus on your breath at the beginning, but eventually, and I have a mantra that I'll chant sometimes. I have a lot of different mantras. The one I learned in Empty Gate, which is a sangha that I go to. I meditate. I haven't been in a while just because I have my own morning practice now. And last time I was supposed to go to the evening practice, I fucking fell asleep and I just napped and I missed it. And yeah, yesterday on Friday, the guy from there would come to Boise and he would lead meditation in the Zenden every Friday at lunch. And I missed that too because I just forgot. And shit happens, dude. But yeah, I'll focus on my breath. I'll have a mantra. The one I learned is think about what am I on the in-breath and don't know on the out-breath. Not who am I, what am I. And what I learned from that mantra is...
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yeah, what's up?
Like, could you kind of explain, like, what am I? Like, what...
I'm about to get to that, actually.
Okay.
So, what I learned from that mantra, what am I, don't know. It's not, I don't know what I am. It clicked for me one day when I was repeating that mantra, what am I, don't know, is what you are at your true essence is not the same part of you that knows. That knows that grass is green, or that knows that this leads to this, or knows that this person talks shit about me. Or I know that I like this and I don't like this and this is good and this is bad. What you are is the observer. And you're watching your mind. Your mind is not exactly what you are. Like I said earlier, there's the lowercase mind. The lowercase m mind, which just happens and you're just observing it. You don't really have that much control over it. There's an illusion like you do because you can choose to do something. Like I chose to come here, but I really didn't. The universe just decided it wanted to manifest this comingness to here, and it wanted to come on this podcast and manifest my speakingness. Even though it seems like I made the conscious decision to come here, the universe just wanted that to happen.
So you're saying the universe pretty much guides you, and like this is like a journey that's guided by the universe? Like it's almost pre-decided? Not
yes.
pre-decided.
Yes, but you still have free will because you. Oh, it's hard.
Obviously, you can change it, but like
there's
so
two.
you're saying it's like a set path.
This is very difficult to explain with language because it's yeah. But anyways, back to the mantra. What am I? Don't know. The part of you, your mind. Try not to think about a hippopotamus right now. Don't think about a hippopotamus. Whatever you do, don't think about a hippopotamus. You see how all you can think about now is a hippopotamus? Oh. It's like, that should illustrate to you how much control you have over your own mind.
It's like, in order to, like, if you want to not think about something, what you're supposed to do is only think of it, and you can't think of it.
Well, no. What I was getting at there is, no, that's a good question.
No, it is, because, like...
The point that I was trying to make is that you don't really have control over your mind. It just kind of wanders where it does. And what it is not what you are. Don't identify with Don't identify with your mind. It's just happening on its own. And you're only watching like 1% of it. 99% of it is unconscious. And it's just all your other experiences, everything else that you could be thinking about. You only see 1% of your mind. When you meditate, my goal is just to go 1% further, and just there's 100% no thinkingness that I am observing. There is only the observer, and I'm only aware of observation. I'm observing the act of observation itself, and when you can come to a state before the thoughts arise, that is when you feel the presence of spiritual energy and God.
Wait, I got an episode I just wanted to like.
Okay,
so I really appreciate learning about that stuff. I agreed with some of it, I disagreed with some of it, but it was great hearing
That's
it.
real. Yeah,
I appreciate that a lot.
Don't be afraid to voice disagreements. I'm just spitting shit. Like, once anything is confined to language, it just becomes my opinion. This is all opinion. None of it is fact. what I have experienced is truth. What you have experienced up to this point and going forward, what you will experience is truth. That is the only truth there is.
Yeah, like, I appreciate that you like allow others to like have their opinions, that you don't really like disagree with them. Because I feel like a lot of that, like all these people who have these trips, like can't really take
serving for learning purposes.
Yes, that is the only reason that we have chosen to come here in this lifetime, is to learn and to become enlightened and to remember what the real truth is. That's the beautiful aspect about God, is that we are all God. I am God, you are God. And the beauty from it comes that God forgets what it is so that it can remember again. Yeah, it's wild.
Do you believe in like heaven and hell, or it's just something?
I believe you can attain heaven, and I believe that we create hell. Hell, there is no dying and going to heaven or hell. When you die, there's this book called The Journey of Souls, which is by a PhD psychiatrist who is into hypnosis and past life regression, where he's able to help people remember their past lives and put themselves in a situation where they are dead and in between lives, and recover memories from the etheric brain that are outside just the physical brain, the lowercase m mind, that part of the brain, because the capital M mind, the etheric mind, still exists within. And he did countless, like, I can't even count how many case studies of the same hypnosis method, and everybody describes this afterlife in the same way, and it fulfilling the same purpose, where this journey is complete. You have learned some lessons in this life, and you will go into another life to try and relearn these lessons, or try and master these specific aspects of being. So you can think of this life as the movie, and in between lives is your true state of awake being, where you're just planning to go to another movie with your friends.
Could I say something?
What's up?
I was just like, are you kind of saying that like each path that you choose as a lesson, and depending on whether you learn from that lesson the next time you come around to that path, if you're able to learn from that lesson, does that ultimately lead to like an enlightened soul, where like the state of heaven is your soul being at rest and being enlightened?
Yes.
And being able to be at peace with itself, and realize that it learned from the lessons in its life, and ultimately that learning was how it became enlightened.
Holy shit.
Yes. The heaven comes from the fact that the joy of being a part of the process of learning, no matter where, in this process of learning, there is no more learned or less learned. There is no good, better, and best. It's just where you are on the path. The heaven and the enlightenment of the soul is just a realization of the joy of being, the complete joy and love for existence itself, for allness, for being able to be a part of the learning experience itself as perfect. It's perfect every step of the way. No matter how like gruesome or traumatic your lived experience is, that is the most optimal thing you can experience for your spiritual learning.
Let's say you achieve peace or like heaven. Once you die, do you just does your soul disappear? What do you believe in? What happens when you die?
What your soul is, the observer, that facet of God has always existed and always will exist. In terms of what, I can't speak to, I don't have like I don't have very many answers. This is
This
is all my lived experience trying to communicate itself through speaking, which is
your soul.
Death is like the one thing that like we have no clue what will happen to us.
Well, in physical death, the brain will
Shuts off.
The brain shuts off, the body will decay, but the soul which inhabits the body cannot be destroyed. What you are can't be cremated or buried or destroyed.
Could I say something? And then enlightened.
You don't need to raise your hand. You can just
this
say
is
it.
a fucking math
No,
class.
you can just say something.
I didn't want to.
What?
An enlightened,
No, it's okay.
an enlightened soul will never be forgotten because on its pathway, it enlightened people, and it will be continue to live on.
Nothing is ever forgotten down to.
But a non-enlightened soul, that's it. It's not necessarily forgotten, but it's a soul that had chose a bad path for itself could be frowned upon, or like serial killers.
There is no frowned upon. Serial killers.
Serial
Their soul just has more learning to do. They're below the point where they have come to realize that they are on the path, or in this lifetime, it's easy to become wrapped up in the world again, because I could talk about David Hawkins' map of consciousness and the calibration of consciousness. I know someone who knows how to calibrate on this logarithmic scale. It goes from 0, 1 to up to 1,000, which rates your level of consciousness and your experience with allness. And 200 and above is above. 200 is integrity. How long has this been going on?
Don't worry about it.
It's like an hour.
Keep going.
So I wish I could have brought the map of consciousness with me. I have 2 copies of it in physical form. But I know someone who knows how to calibrate, which is a process in and of itself where you can ask God, and your physicality, your body can still detect truth from falsehood because it does still have a soul within it. And your soul, which is eternal, an aspect of God, can determine truth from falsehood immediately. Your mind and ego does it very poorly. Because it can be deceived, but you can't deceive the etheric, godly aspect of the capital S self. And the capital S self is God and is that godly aspect. You can do it down to where, like, are my keys here or are my keys not here? And if you say something aloud and you project that intent and that thought as speakingness, that energy either has is either truthful at its essence or false at its essence. And if it's false at its essence, your muscles may go weak. But if it's a truthful statement, the muscles will stay strong. So the person I know who calibrates, if he'll put himself in a meditative state and he'll say something out loud. And if it's true, as soon as he makes the statement, he'll pull on his finger like this. And if it stays strong, then it's a true statement. If it breaks, then it's a false statement. And that's something that must be learned. And there's a lot of aspects or a lot of variables which go into the accurateness of the calibration, because you are still doing it with your body, and your body, you can bring your ego into it and it'll be an inaccurate calibration.
So you believe that we're all part of God, or
we are God?
We are God. So we're not the part of God. You believe we are God, all of us.
Well,
like all humans.
Both of those statements are true. Everything.
Oh, Chewy has
everything exists.
Chewy, no.
Everything exists.
Chewy, no.
Everything exists as a manifestation or projection of God's will. And
could I ask you a question?
Of course.
How familiar are you with, like, the Native American beliefs? Because it seems like you're pretty similar. Because I know they use, like, the natural, like, psychedelic drugs to go on spiritual retreats.
So here's the thing: mysticism across all of humanity, every single religion, pretty much shares some fundamental, like, aspects of it. There's a lot of different terms lots of mystics, Sufi mystics in the Islamic religion, the Gnostics of the Christian religion, the traditional Native American mysticism. What else? There's so many. Hinduism. A lot of them use psychedelic substances to facilitate these very intense spiritual states of being while you're still in this human form. The most common one across history is a milky substance. It's like a potion. Not a potion, but this drink.
Snake.
This drink.
Ayahuasca.
It's a milky. Well, ayahuasca is one, and ayahuasca has DMT in it. That is used most traditionally by Native Americans and other I think it's with the indigenous peoples of Australia use kind of ayahuasca as well. It's a specific blend. You can attain DMT from tree bark. If you just consume that, your body can't metabolize it, so you have to take something else with it so your body can metabolize the DMT, and then you'll have the trip. So it's like a mix of these two plants. But the most common one across history is called soma, which is made from the Amanita muscaria, I think that's the name of it, mushroom, which is the traditional mushroom you see in in all of pop culture. In Minecraft, it's the traditional white-stemmed mushroom with the red cap and the white spots on top. You've all seen that image of the mushroom. It's in Mario.
It's in Atomic Bombs.
What?
The mushroom cloud.
Oh, not the mushroom clouds. I mean the specific,
I'm like,
the
what?
specific,
Rasta
the specific species and kind of mushroom, the Amanita muscaria. They make this drink called soma from it, and you take it and you trip. That was common in Greek mysticism. The Greeks used it, ancient Greeks. It's referred to some 30 times in many Vedic texts. This mentions soma. The Upanishads mentions soma. You might be able to find it. I don't know. There's a lot in there. We could just read something from this at will. One favorite exercise, not exercise, just something I like to do is if we need to hear something, I will ask God. I'll say a small prayer, and I'll flip to a random page and ask God what is best to be shown to us at this present moment. So
Can you do that for us?
I will. I'm about to.
Use a book.
Yeah. It is the self who sees, hears, smells, touches, and tastes, who thinks, acts, and is pure consciousness. The self is Brahman, changeless and supreme. Those who know the supreme self as formless, without shadow, without impurity, know all, gentle friend, and live in all. Those who know the capital S, self, the seat of consciousness itself, in whom the breath and all the senses live, know all, gentle friend, and live in all.
That's good.
Yeah. It could have been something. I don't want to say something better. That's what it felt we needed to hear.
Could you interpret the meaning?
Well, it's very similar to what I've been talking about the whole time, and I just lost it. It's okay.
You should do it again. And
Should.
then find a new phrase since you lost it.
Yeah.
We have it on.
Yeah, fine.
Before the world was created, the self alone existed. Nothing whatever stirred. Then the self thought, let me create the world. He brought forth all the worlds out of himself. Ambaz high above the sky, Marichi, the sky, Mara, the middle region that is earth, and Appa, the realm of waters below. Does that sound familiar? That sounds a lot like Genesis in the Bible. God said, let there be light, decided to create the heavens and the earth. The self thought, I have created these worlds, let me now create guardians for these worlds. From the waters he drew forth Purusha and gave him form. As the self brooded over the form, a mouth opened, as does an egg, giving forth speech and fire. Nostrils opened with the power of breathing the air, eyes opened, giving rise to sight and sun. That's almost identical to Genesis in the Bible. So religions at their core contain the same core truth, but it's a different interpretation. As soon as you put something to words, it only becomes an opinion. This is not perfect. Nothing is perfect, but everything is perfect.
Yeah. Did you know that
God is perfect?
Yeah. Did you know that Judaism and Christianity both believe exactly in Genesis how it happened?
Well, yeah, because it's the Old Testament and Judaism. Judaism believes in only the Old Testament, if I'm correct, and Christianity maintains the Old and New Testament. Even some Christians disagree on what
Sunscreen. Exactly, sunscreen.
on what aspects of religion or what aspects of scriptures that have been written should be included as biblical canon. Like the Gospel of Thomas was recently discovered. That was never included in the Bible just because it was never found and included in biblical canon. It was only found in the 40s. You can do research into the Dead Sea Scrolls. Some biblical scriptures are included by some sects of Christianity and not by others. It's by no means exact. It's a religion, and religion has flaws. You can't communicate exact spiritual, divine truth and essence with words, or at least to do so is extremely difficult and is very much reliant on the intent of the individual manifesting the speakingness.
And the feeling, like the feeling it creates.
Exactly, the feeling it creates, which can differ from person to person. The person hearing it, like if I was to say this to someone who has absolutely zero experience with it and doesn't want to believe it, they won't believe it. You can't make anyone do, think, or feel anything they don't want to do, think, or feel. The only thing that is perfect is what the self has prescribed itself in the form of lived experience and being on this path. Everything is perfect. And I know I just said nothing is perfect, but everything is perfect. Someone who is trying to learn how to slackline and sucks at it is a perfect beginner. They're a perfect beginner. That is exactly where they need to be. They're perfect at being a beginner, and they exist in that essence. And once they learn more, they are a perfect novice. And once they become an expert, they are a perfect expert. Everything is perfect as it exists by virtue of its existing as that, because that is what has willed it to be. A seed is a perfect seed. A sprout is a perfect sprout. And a flower is a perfect flower, and a withered flower is a perfect withered flower.
Mm-hmm. Like the bad apple in the bunch, the metaphor. The bad apple it has a purpose of
making all the apples look better.
Yes, that's true.
And also serving the purpose of showing that not everything in the world is perfect. So it's perfect in doing that.
It's perfect because it exists as an expression of its essence. It's perfect by virtue of its existing, and all that exists is perfect because it exists.
And with bad apples, they make you more excited when you have a good apple. You feel more happy,
more appreciative.
Yeah, more appreciative.
Thankful.
Yes.
For the good apple.
Yes.
Roads tonight. A good apple.
Thank you. This has been a trippy 100th subscriber special.
Yeah. Yes.
I forgot. We haven't even talked about that.
Yes.
Thank you for 100 subscribers, Supreme.
Thank you so
Very
much.
much.
Our 100th subscriber, I believe, was Matt, maybe? Or
No, I think it was the group leader.
Sam? Oh, I think so. I think it was
Shout out Sam. Thank you
Sam
very much.
Chasen.
Sam Chasen, yeah.
You're
He's a dog.
I just did my driving. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Do we want to continue or wrap it up?
Maybe we
think
could
we
wrap
should
it
wrap
up.
it up.
Yeah,
Me too.
I've
This
been.
is
I was yapping for a while. I
I'm
apologize.
not gonna lie, we've been doing this
This
for
is the
like
longest
an hour
podcast
and
we've
15
ever
minutes.
That's real. That's just when you
we're
check.
gonna have
right?
to have
What's
you
it
on
at
for
now?
No, when
another-
I checked, it was at an hour, but we're probably
for future episodes, Max,
Yeah, for
because
sure.
we have other stuff we want to talk about.
That's real. Well, we could. Yeah, if it's an hour, we should wrap it up. But what else would you like to talk about in future episodes?
Oh my, like maybe like different types of like churches and stuff like that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm a Catholic myself, and I really find it interesting like what you have to like say and stuff.
I appreciate that greatly. Yes.
so we could collab with Gideon.
Max, he is a Christian.
That's okay. All who call upon me and by any name are my children and greatly loved.
Wait, could we
Godhead, Brahma, Krishna, Christ, Buddha, the Self.
Yeah, so you don't what do you have a religion that you believe in?
I don't follow any one particular rhythm of understanding being that we refer to as organized religion, but I'm very spiritual and I draw from every religion as much as I can to assist me on my spiritual path and develop a conscious contact with
I like
God
that.
as
So
I
you would say
understand
you're
it.
like agnostic, you'd say?
No, not agnostic. Because the agnostic, well, Gnostic
unsure.
means gnostic.
Oh, okay.
Gnosis means knowledge. Gnostic, the Gnostics, that's actually a kind of form of Christian mysticism.
Oh.
But
Agnostic?
gnosis means knowledge, and a is a prefix meaning without. So agnostic means without knowledge or without proof of God's existence. I don't need proof of God's existence. I know of God's existence. My friend, you have something on your eyebrow.
Oh, thank you.
How nice.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
I got it.
Hey, if there was my one takeaway from this entire episode and from listening to you for
It's
over
don't
an
do
hour,
salvia.
no,
It'd be we all
is one
matter.
word: love.
Yes.
So
That makes me very
It's
happy
all
to
love.
hear.
That's very
It's
good.
all love.
That's very good.
That means very much to me. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Ah, yes, love. Love is all there is. Whoever wants this can have it. It's a dense read. Half of that is not even the text itself. A lot of it is an introduction given by Eknath Swaran, where he actually speaks of the translation, and he introduces it and he explains certain terms which are used throughout. I'm sorry about how desecrated that is. It just arrived in the mail like that.
I
I bought it.
I would have returned it and got a new one.
I tried. MFs on eBay never texted me back.
Oh,
It's chill.
Hey, love the MFs on you.
They did you
Love
dirty.
the MFs on eBay. I forgive them. I mean, you can still read it. It's just very desecrated. I'm very sorry.
It's okay. Hey, the middle of it isn't desecrated, just the outside.
That's true. It's so badly torn.
Yeah.
Those are both Hindu texts, and there's a trio in this series done by Eknath Swaran. He translated the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, which is in and of itself an Upanishad. Those are both traditionally, well, not traditional. They're both Hindu texts, and then there's the Dhammapada, which is the story of the Buddha and a series of the Buddha's teachings. And the Buddha was Indian, but Buddhism obviously has taken its own path and philosophical identification, and even within Buddhism, there's like Mahayana Buddhism, Vajrayana Buddhism, and what's the third? Theravada Buddhism. There's so many. Each is, and those are all known by different names. Like Vajrayana is also known as Tantric Buddhism.
But Vajrayana, that's it's like a sub of Mahayana, and
That's correct. And do you know where it's mainly practiced?
I know, isn't it like Asia. So Mongolia, China.
It's close. It begins with a T.
Thailand.
Closer to China.
Taiwan. What?
Close. Tibet. It's Vajrayana Buddhism is pretty much known as Tibetan Buddhism or Tantric Buddhism.
Yeah, but I mean that Mahayana is all that northern Asian region, so like they kind of.
I believe so. I'm not entirely
Because
I'm not very educated on this.
Theravada is the original one that derived from India.
I believe so. Yes.
Do you want me to stop filming?
Yes, we can do
Alright.
that.
Okay, wait. Can we show the viewers my garden?
Oh yeah, Owen created his own garden.
Yeah, over the course of this.
I get a little distracted, but
I think he was stimming.
I'm gonna go train at the Y today and see if I can